Hey, what's up? Trent and Jason here from Thunder Underground, and today we're going to talk about Lynch Mob's newest album, which is new, but in a way it's not new. It is Wicked Sensation ReImagined.
ReImagined.
Yeah, not re-recorded. And I actually saw, in a press release where George Lynch said the word re-record makes me cringe. It's
Right.
like, so we set out to do something that, because we love that album from front to back, and we wanted to do something that celebrated it in a totally different way.
Right. But, now is reimagined going to be the word? If a lot of bands start doing that, then reimagined will make you cringe.
That's right.
Kind of like when I hear the word curate. I throw open my mouth a little.
Right. But when you think of bands doing this, and it's whatever word they use, a lot of times they're just doing it so they can have publishing or whatever. It's like, like Twisted Sister did with Stay
Right.
Hungry.
I get that.
Or Still Hungry, when they re-recorded it so they could sell, the two big hits to movies and commercials. But in this case, this seems like a genuine thing of course they're trying to make some money, but it seems like a genuine thing of let's give these songs a new spin. Like, what would they sound like if we recorded them 30 years later? Or if this album just came out now, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you listen to this this reimagined record, and there's art to it. There's definitely a new spin on it. There's definitely more motivation than just let's re-record this shit so we get the money.
Right.
There's some interesting stuff going on here, and I think that's what we're here to break down.
Yeah, exactly. And up front, I'm a massive fan of this album, the original album.
Yes.
And pretty much everything they've ever done. The second album with Robert Mason, and then the subsequent albums they've done over the last 15 years with only Logan back. And that's another thing. I mean, the first thing that this album shows is we all know George Lynch isn't going to lose anything. He's a masterful guitarist. But you hear it more from vocalists. But 30 years later, Only Logan still sounds as great as he did 3 decades ago.
Well, of course. I mean, he just got off of the Dio thing.
Right.
You don't get that by sucking.
Right.
So this guy's voice is in tip-top shape, and there was no lacking of skill on this record.
Yeah. They added Robbie Crane on bass and Brian Tichey on drums. That's the current lineup. Brian Tichey's been in there on and off over the years, and Robbie Crane's been the bass player for quite a while now. So we've got 2 of the original members, and we've got 2 valid, great contributors here as well. And Brian Tichey's one of the great drummers of modern rock, in my opinion.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
And he has a heavy bag on his drum set, and he's been on this show.
Twice.
Maybe
a third time. Remember you mentioned that we should do a podcast just talking about live albums.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
So we're putting you on blast, Brian. We're going to do that soon enough. But the subject at hand is, let's talk about the first 2 songs first.
Okay.
Because the first 2 songs are the 2 songs that everyone knows.
Everyone knows.
Even your average fan that listens to rock music and they never really delved into this album, they've all heard Wicked Sensation and River of Love. So those are the 2 songs I think most people are probably going to pay the most attention to. And to me, those are 2 of probably 3 or 4 songs on the album that are the most drastically changed.
I agree.
And almost to a point, you can hear the guitar line on River of Love, but both the songs, to me, if you took the vocals off, I would have a hard time at first knowing what the song was. That's how much of a difference it is. I mean, there's elements you could hear it if you're listening for it. But just listening to it, and you know the words, it's almost like you're listening to new songs, but you know every single word to it.
But no, I'm with you on that. I come from a different way with Lynch Mob. I can be totally honest, and I haven't heard this record in years. I know the first 2 songs, obviously, because they're everywhere, and they still are. And I like the original arrangements better.
Well, yeah.
And that's just me. The rest of the record, it's great. and that, just on the way over here, I'm just starting to A/B both things, and I'm digging into this more. But it's just like you said, the rest of the record, there's some things that wasn't that different.
Yeah.
But what I can say, I love George Lynch's guitar tone on this record, and just everything. The whole album, drums, just the sonics, the vocals, it all just sounds so much thicker. It's like maybe this original record was very of the time.
Yeah.
I guess some would say. But I think they made these songs not of any time in this reimagined version. They thickened it, and they made them timeless. Where you can listen to this, and you could have heard it in the 90s, you could have heard it in the 70s, you could hear it now. So I really think that that's kind of what I got from this version of the record. Again, like I just said, I love George Lynch's guitar tone. It's more like clean, overdriven than distorted, and it just broadens everything. So that's one of my takeaways from it.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good point about it being more of a timeless sound. I didn't really think about that. Like, Lynch Mob has always been a band where they didn't sound like a glam band. They were more blues based, but they were hard rock. And if you hear a song like "Sweet Sister Mercy," it sounds like, okay, this is probably from the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah, it sounds like 1990.
Yeah,
and that's great.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we grew up on, and that's what we love, But one of the things I thought about after a few songs into this, it's like when a band puts out an acoustic album with a bunch of hard rock songs. They've got to rework the things if they weren't written that way, rework them, reimagine them acoustically. That's almost what I feel like this is. It's like any of these could be acoustic, but they just reimagined it in the same way a band would acoustically, but then still made it a hard rock album. Or there's songs like River of Love, to me, is almost bluesy now. It's slower.
Yeah.
It's got that feel. I mean, everything has that feel because of his voice. And same with Wicked Sensation. The beginning of it's funky. He almost has like a Hendrix sound at times in that. Yeah. But like I mentioned, Sweet Sister Mercy, it's got the same kind of, chorus and melodies. There's not a lot. I mean, the music's, when I say it's not different, the music's different on all these. But when you hear a song like that, it's pretty close to the original style-wise compared to other songs. But I think my favorite song on the album, on this version of the album, is All I Want. I think that came across really great in the new version. And the only song I wasn't really huge on the reimagined version of was Street Fighting Man. For some reason, it just didn't hit the same way the original did to me. But this is one of those all-killer, no-filler albums from back in the day. And I mean, I think you could say that about this too. And I mean, I like the feel of it. I think it's something I'll go back to at some point at different times. But I don't think 10 years from now I'll be like, I need to listen to Lynch Mob. And I'll think I'm going to listen to that reimagined version before I listen to the original version. I don't think it's ever going to be that way. But that's not a negative thing. Like I said, I love the album.
Well, it's going to be that way for me because I ordered the motherfucking cassette.
Oh, that's right.
And I will blast that thing.
Do you not have Wicked Sensation on cassette, the original?
I fucking might.
I've still got it on CD, but I don't. In that huge cassette haul I landed last year. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but I've definitely got this one coming, so.
Yeah. So check this out. It comes out Friday, August 28th, just a day from now. If you're watching this when it comes out, if you're watching this later on, just to check out someone's opinion, we appreciate it. We've got a podcast right below this right here. There's links for our podcast. You can listen to it everywhere, Spotify, iTunes, all the normal places. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any videos like this in the future. We've had everyone, if you like this era of music, we've had everyone from Kiss, Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard, Great White, Tesla, Warrant, Europe. Like we said, Brian Tichey from Lynch Mob has been on here twice. Chris McCarville from Dokken, George Lynch's old band, has been on here as well. And I'll finish this with a statement to ruffle some feathers. The greatest Lynch Mob album, the greatest Dokken album of all time is called Wicked Sensation. So,